All right. Hello, CMOs. We had an awesome first sip club this morning covering CABs, or customer advisory groups. I missed my buddy Matt, but I was joined by a different co-host, Carrie Lou Dietrich. So thanks to her for helping facilitate an amazing discussion. And we had some good expert guests come on. So we had Alana and Randy from Uberflip talking about their cab, and Ashley Stepien talking about cabs from Webflow, Pendo, and Aperio, and Michelle Swan, who started the cab at Aperio as well. So wanted to just rattle off my takeaways for those who missed it. First of all, we talked about when to start a cab because it is a decent amount of work. And so just making sure you're the right size and have kind of a big enough customer base to make it meaningful was something we talked about. So when to get the process rolling. We also talked about member selection. And this was sort of the linchpin of a great cab is who you select. And some of the intangibles of, people that aren't going to take up all the oxygen in the room, are going to provide good feedback, but also thinking back to the purpose of your cab. And the purpose of a cab is typically to help you make strategic decisions, not just about your roadmap, but even about your company and the direction of your company. So in selecting members, one of the things we talked about is, you want people that are close enough to your product that can kind of contextualize and give good feedback on your product or industry, but it's not a user group too. So you do want to kind of get that right sweet spot of members. We also talked about having a charter, and we're going to actually share the charter that Michelle created for Aperio on the hub. But charter's a great idea, lays out the purpose of the cab, so sets expectations across the company, internally and externally. Also gives a time limit for cab membership. That was kind of a gotcha for some of us, is not declaring this is a 2-year cycle or maybe 1-year cycle. And also defines what cab members will get and what you expect from them. So that came out as a really good best practice. We talked about frequency of meetings and didn't land on an exact, but less is more, I think, was the takeaway. One person was at monthly, and that we decided that was way too much. So aim for quarterly, maybe every 6 months, and one kind of annual event. And last but certainly not least, talked a lot about agenda design and best practices, and maybe even getting a moderator to help facilitate. And Dwight had an awesome tip for us. He talked about the 50-25-25 rule, meaning 25% of the content is something that you're giving explicitly to them. So bringing in an external analyst, a guest speaker, launching some new research that only they can get. 25% is more an organic give, so the networking that you provide, maybe the experience that you give them, that's something they couldn't get outside of their day-to-day. And then 50% is actually them giving back to you. So how are they giving you advice on company direction, what industries maybe you take on next, and some good idea jams about different activities that you can take cab members through to really get the most out of your time with them. So all in all, awesome session, lots of great takeaways. Check out the hub for those, and I'll see you next.